The alarm rings and the internal negotiation begins. You could get to the gym, or you could take 20 more minutes of sleep. At lunch, it's the immediate satisfaction of a burger versus the long-term utility of a salad. We manage dozens of these micro-calculations every day, often feeling a constant friction between two distinct internal poles. Life presents this specific friction as a recurring choice. It is the tension between what is good and what is merely pleasant. This dilemma is a cornerstone of the Katha Upanishad, an ancient Hindu text. It reveals a foundational psychological landscape where two paths, the preferable and the pleasurable, approach every human being in a state of direct opposition. The text warns that those who choose the pleasant miss the goal of life. By prioritizing the immediate sensation, the perceiver falls into a state of blinding gloom, where the temporary nature of the choice eventually manifests as a cycle of frustration. Neither of these paths is forced upon the individual. Both options approach neutrally, offering themselves as possibilities that require a deliberate reaction. Success in this framework depends on the ability to identify and separate these two forces before their effects become a permanent part of our character. The first path is the pleasurable, or preya. This is a trajectory governed by emotion, instinct, and the immediate demands of the senses. This path is often chosen by those seeking to acquire new objects or protect what they already possess. It is a defensive, short-sighted mode of existence, driven by the fear of lack or the need for a quick dopamine hit. The primary mechanism of the pleasant is concealment. It presents a sweet, enticing external appearance that intentionally hides the reality of the object. Because it emphasizes immediate gratification, it masks long-term destructive effects. It functions like an addiction, providing a momentary sense of fullness that inevitably leads to deeper craving. Chasing the pleasant results in a trap. It offers the promise of comfort, but secures a state of enslavement to the senses. In contrast stands the preferable, or Shreya. This path is navigated through intelligence and objective reason, rather than emotional impulse. This path requires the exercise of viveka, the intellectual faculty used to distinguish the real from the unreal. It is the mental labor of looking past the surface to see the actual nature of a choice. Unlike the pleasant, the good reveals the truth of a situation. It aligns the individual with their long-term benefit, even if that benefit is not immediately visible. The cost of this path is what the Upanishads call strict self-schooling. It is often characterized by difficult effort at the start, but it results in a lasting sweetness once the goal is reached. This creates a crossroads. A wise person does not simply wait for temptation to vanish. They actively examine both the pleasant and the preferable as they present themselves, using their intellect to weigh the outcome. This process strips emotion away from the decision. It transforms what would be an impulsive reaction into an intellectual calculation. The long-term pursuit of the pleasurable leads to a state described as the blind led by the blind. Individuals find themselves in a loop of chasing fleeting joys and dishonest gains, never finding a point of rest. The pursuit of the preferable leads toward the liberation of the spirit. It results in a state where the individual is no longer in bondage to impulses, finding a peace independent of external circumstances. Ultimately, the responsibility for these outcomes rests with how we respond to the stimuli life presents. The external world will continue to offer the pleasant. The only variable we can influence is our internal capacity to separate those offers from what is truly good for us. The next time you face a choice, pause. Ask yourself if the path is merely pleasant or truly preferable. Subscribe to join us for Day 6.